Hello. Hello.
Cerveza cristal. Cerveza cristal.
But
Hello.
Oh, I didn't even mute my mic. Oh, I've been missing out on doing all sorts of things, it seems. Oh my goodness. Oh my damn. Oh my goodness. It's going ham. Alrighty, continue the game. We're gonna go straight into, Space Marines. You can probably hear, like, all the loudness in the background right now. Quality ads? Oh, I'm glad that you think there's quality ads in this thing. Hi there, Bookie. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're doing alright. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Bone Mass Dog, for coming to the stream first. I greatly appreciate it. Hello to you, Xerix, Noah Guy, and Bookie. Welcome, welcome. You'll be so proud of me. Oh, actually, no. Orenea Zach isn't in the chat yet, is it? It's not quality ads unless there's the Amazeballs ads. I do not know of the Amazeball ads. It's been so long. All I can think of is, like, Kusaki's, like, line reading of it. I cannot recall the legitimate Amazeball ads. I left this tea here for, like, an hour, and it's finally down to a temperature that I can actually enjoy sipping it and what have you. Also, I should probably stop the music. There we go. Holy shit! 90... Hey, hang on. Let's get that back there. Holy shit! Look at that!
Thebook Stir with the 9-month tier 1 sub.
Bookie! thank you so much for subscribing. I greatly appreciate it. You've been doing it for like 9 months now, and you're currently on a 3-month streak. Nice work. Oh, I was a little bit slow there. But yeah, thank you so much. You don't have to worry about any advertisement that pops up on my stream. I think I have it now where it's like a minute and a half every half hour or something crazy like that. And you get to utilize all the cool fun emotes. But yeah, nice work on the 51% cuteness as well. Alrighty. Hey, 60% himbo, nice. Alright, so as a tactician, see all available weapon types for your class here. Switch appearances, armor hull. So that's what it looks like for... And then these are all... Ooh, I got DLC. Nice, I can make it a good deal for Marines if I want. Win 10 matches with this weapon in Eternal War. 19 matches, 16, 13, 4. Win 1 match. Noted. So I need to win at least 1 match with that one. Bolter pistol doesn't really have anything to it. So, reveal enemies in the selected area and make them more vulnerable. Cool. And then, if I wanted to upgrade the look of each of these characters, I'd have to like go at them one at a time. I can't just, you know, go, hello, welcome to the stream, Jason. Good work on the 98% cute there, Bookie. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around. Oh, and now I'm like a different thing. Okay, hang on a second. Edit this, close the edit. Where's the thingy? How do I get out of squads and get back into... Because I want to go through the campaign. Like, I know I look pretty fucking schmancy. Alright, here we go. Swap from the Eternal War to... Let's see, so we got 2 operations. So we've done the Machinist Divinitus, so now we're up to the Servant of the Machine. Progress of the current mission will be... Wait, what? Are you sure you want to switch game modes? Yes. Alrighty, there we go. So now we're Titus again. He's a Primaris. Alright, cool. That thing is still alive. Yeah, look at our man. Look at this hunking lord of metal. Just waltzing through, no problems whatsoever. Yeah, I am really excited to play more of this. Like, I love this so much. Power armor looking guy, yeah. Like in the video game, Fallout, or Space Marine 1. But yeah. I wonder if there's a way of having, like, better hand tracking while I'm holding a controller. Also, you may not see it, but there's, like, a loading bar in the bottom right. Servant of the Machine. Tyranid forces surround the Temple of Thasian. Breaking through their line is the only way to retrieve Morius Luz. Enter the temple, extract the Magos, and bring him to safety aboard the Resilient. You must reach the Temple of Thasian and rescue him. I grow weary of this flesh I was born into, strangely disgusted by its nature. I crave only the cold, clean, and certainty of steel and silicon, and I might become one with the blessed machine!
Approaching landing zone.
Okay, cool. Alright.
The temple
Cookie for Bookie!
section of the city. We'll have to land outside and make our approach.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Brace for emergency landing. Lock armor.
Oh, interesting! Nice.
Lance of Jove, report.
Minor damage. Tag team.
You're hurting me with a Latin? I love that you're trying to keep it. Yes, I am doing my best, okay? I need to learn these
The
words.
Emperor protects.
I have been trying to read Warhammer books.
Ground to cover.
I've gone through the first one. I've gone through Horus Rising. I now need to get through the next one. I now need to get through, like, I have it... Oh, by the by, check out my throne. I have, like, I have, like, more Space Marine books on there that I've added onto there. There's a few things I need to add back in there. So, for example... Oh, what the fuck?
Placed on Overwatch inside that building.
Okay. Looks like we're dealing with something. Did someone say throat? Yeah, so I'll slowly fill it back up again, don't you worry. Alright, throw a grenade. Oh. There we go. And then... Alright, let's try and not have any
Throwing frag grenade!
Ooh. Bam. Go. Alright.
Sir, have you faced a Neurothroat before? I have. A tricky adversary.
But yeah, so I'll be slowly filling out my throne again, cause there's a number of items I took off the list that I want to double check if there's going to be an item that is available on Amazon and what have you, so then that way I can put it back on there. Because Bookie, shoutouts to Bookie by the by, doing what they can to support me. I thank you so much for it. They tried gifting me a few things, and Throne like tried to purchase like a Brita jug, and the Brita jug was out of stock, and so they couldn't get the Brita jug. But because they were trying to also gift me other things as well, everything else couldn't get purchased either. Instigate with a 3-round burst.
Gift from the forge.
Yeah, that might actually be a reasonable one to use. Oh my holy shit, it's a commander! Oh. Alright, it looks like we're aiding the Astra Militarum. Alright, got the STEM kit, so we have a chance. I do not have any grenades, annoyingly enough. Protect the little ones! There we go. Oh, hello. Yeah! Astra Militarum literally translates to Space Army. Yeah, because they're an army for when they're out in space. Like, everywhere is space. There we go. Nice. I need grenades. There we go. This. Did it.
Morales, is that you?
Despite the best.
Bless the Emperor. It's good to see you.
Veralis?
Gone. Neurothroat.
Aww.
Jesus.
Shit. But yeah, hi Izzy, welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing alright. Welcome.
Gets across with that beast up there.
What are we up against?
It has its rear covered and we do not have the manpower to break through. The Cadians are holding the bridge. At great...
I also forgot to post in all the different Discords that I'm in, that I'm online and streaming right now. I am just way too excited for this, and I don't want to pause on it and such, because there is things I could...
them, brother.
There are things I could talk about and that I want to let you guys know about and such, but I'm also I want to play this. I want to play more.
A direct assault on the rear guard.
A melt-a-bomb. Press B to place the bomb, press B to detonate. It deals catastrophic.
Good.
Let us choke them with their own blood!
Oh! Damn it, that's not what I wanted to do.
Melt-a-bomb act.
Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, it doesn't do that big of a... Okay, I thought it was going to be a big explosion. Oh. Oh, here we go. Execution. You're a bit quiet. Ah, fuck's sake. How about now? Am I better? Hopefully it's better. But yeah, I understand the music can be loud and such. I had the microphone a little bit farther away. Oop, Daryl, you're good? Yep, you're good. Where's the rest of the...
You know Varellis. We served together in 9th Company. I owe him my life.
How so?
We were once defending a stronghold from an orc assault. A war boss overpowered me, had his drill against my head. Varellis appeared, cut the bastard's arm off, and beat him to death with it.
Nice.
Let us honor him by avenging his men.
Alrighty. Meow. There. I suppose it'd be daft to call the land army if they can travel between planets. Yeah, they can travel between planets, and they lead like we're not in Terra, so it's not the land army because you know, land army would the Earth army would be in Terra. So for us, we're in space. Anything to pick up? So much fucking ammunition. Oh, hey, ammunition! Like, legitimate ammunition, what do you know?
Restock before we move on.
Damn, I've been seeing a lot of those boxes around. I didn't know I could pick up ammunition from them. Where the fuck did he... Oh, there he is. Oh, there we go. Execution. There. It's a little bit better. Nice. I need to update my stream and like the stream quality and what have you, because it's not perfect. I've been using the same like OBS settings and stream layout now for about 2 years. It's probably like I love being able to do the zoom in, the zoom up, the zoom across, and the close shot, and then the wide shot. Like I do like doing those things, but the thing is that like they took a bit of work, so I'm a little bit like, you know, hesitant on making a lot of changes. But I honestly feel like I do need to make a change to my layout, because what's more is I also want to update the Ooh, hello.
They will not get past this.
There we go. We now have a heavy bolter pistol. Ooh, shock grenades. That will actually be useful.
Restocking.
Nice. They deal damage and slow enemies over time. Oh, so just like in Helldivers 2. But I'm wondering about a mall and picking up toiletries for the Aussie. You're coming to Australia? By the by, we're not like, I don't think we're hugely expensive. Maybe we are, depending on your current. Do a currency check, and what I can do is tell me of like toiletries that you want and such like that, and then I can like tell you like what they cost and what have you. Or you can just go online to like coles.com.au. So, dunk, slam. But yeah.
Brother. What
Brother.
Nothing good.
Can you be specific?
I would sooner focus on the mission at hand. You are withholding information relevant to the mission at hand.
Ooh, yep.
Mind yourself, Sergeant. Your behavior has been erratic. You force your way into classified files. You tell us nothing.
Gadriel.
We deserve to know who is leading us. This conversation is over.
Alrighty. Gadriel is getting very suspicious of us, and I don't like his tone. Bolt carbine, another ammo box, Melta rifle, stalker bolt rifle. Alright. Let's try...
This will serve me well.
Got a combo knife. Alrighty. So we're going into a building. Hopefully I picked the right weapon. Waft time, baby. But I also... There we go. Alright, this is a relatively reliable weapon for close range.
Morellis, ready your men.
You broke through. We're about to take down the Neurothrope. Good. Make it suffer.
Sounds good. You've already brought some of the toiletries. Alright, fair enough.
Special tactics. Concentrate fire on the Neurothrope. Changing magazine.
Ah, he's getting me confused. Oh, I absolutely missed that aim. Come on. Ow.
Stabilize your rifle.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? Why is it doing a pulse thing?
Fight.
There we go, thank you. Hello, Lil Incineroar. Welcome to the stream.
Flying shock grenade. Reloading.
Gosh darn it. Always for my shirt. Also, Gabriel, can you be like a little more useful, please? Oh, look at that. I can just go back in here, pick up the ammo cache. There we go. Convenience up the wazoo. Oh, yes! Please let me execute. Yeah! Let's go! Australia is pretty expensive. It's pretty expensive, but that's because I'm poor. This was a year of scrunging and donation making. Oh, okay. Well, I hope the,
Your men clear to take the bridge.
I hope the donations and the, like, savings have worked. Incineroar, I'm trying to be nice to Izzy. Why you got to be trying to get the cake? Trying to speak heart to heart to Izzy the fat cat.
For the bridge. Status report.
She's trying her best to get into the into WAF and have the funds for a vacation.
Let us proceed.
Hopefully there's a group of people you'll be able to hang out with and such, so you're not just, you know, you're not, like, on your own over in Australia, because I will be real with you, going on trips with, like, no, like, posse with you is going to be, like, I feel really bad when there isn't, like, a posse of people to be with. So, I hope you have a good time. Dragon Delta, thank you so much for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Alright, bolt gun with a grenade launcher, since we're going the distance, and the heavy bolter.
Dragon Delta 1 demands you drink.
Alright, let me just have some sippies and not have a blaring noise in my ear. Thank you so much. God damn it, little Incineroar. I'm glad I made it that, like, the channel point redeem does get more expensive, like, the more times it does get used. But yeah, no, Australia is expensive, I will say, Izzy, and it's a bit unfortunate considering, like, the location where we are, like, Southeast Asia and such, it really should not be as costly as it is, because, yeah, it's like, like, anything you try and get from the United States, it's like an extra 50% and what have you. You'll have your boyfriend at the very least. Z is threatening to give you free food. There are at least Tiger, Ray Ray, and Ripper to hang out with as well. Oh, you're gonna have a wonderful time with Ripper. Ripper is phenomenal. I was able to hang out with him a few times in Furdew. I wish I had more times that I could have hung out with them and actually, like, you know, interacted and just had a conversation and what have you. I went to, like, FurCons, like, 3 times. 3 times. And that is my top tip, is get yourself a posse, get someone to, like, even during, like, sort of the times where it's like, oh, I don't want to be on, like, the furry floor. Like, if you don't want to be, like, on the main floor, instead want to have, like, you know, just a nice little, you know, sit down, calm yourself and such. Even just having, like, another 1 or 2 people with you for a little bit is fine. And then when it gets, like, really overwhelming, even with, like, 2 peeps to, you know, stim with, then yeah, then you just go to a hotel room or something. There we go. Ow.
Wargear Prime. Meltabon Prime.
Nice. Glad that worked.
Take out those mines.
Nice.
Vermin stuff.
Yeah. All right, let's.
Stocking.
Oh, execution time. Here we go.
Another one dead.
Gabriel, you're not looking too hot.
That's all of them. How far to lose his position?
We're still a long way from the dome.
Then we must hurry.
Oh, okay, so this is cutscene time. Alright.
Brothers,
Oh, hell yeah.
Good to see you.
the Cadians have the bridge under control. Thought you could use an extra hand.
A welcome offer.
Climb on.
Nice. Yeah.
The temple is this way.
Hopefully once you go into Australia and settle down a little bit, you won't have too much of a too much stress.
Thank you, brother.
Ultramarines!
Sup? How's it going? Good to see you. I can't do like the Aquila symbol they have where it's like, you know, putting the two hands together.
No, my lord.
What about the Temple of Thasian?
The dome was evacuated days ago.
Rejoin the main force immediately.
Our orders are to remain.
Why is he invisible?
On whose authority?
Captain Fairburn. We are to hold this position until further notice.
The dome is empty. Now move on.
But, sire,
I gave you an order.
forgive me, my lord. Perhaps there was a communication error. The captain insisted.
The deserters.
No, no, no. We have our orders.
Vox no
Uh-oh.
If you are deserters, I'll execute you myself.
Ooh, boy.
Captain Fairburn, come in.
Alright, so there's an advertisement going on, so we're not going to be going through, like, you know, any more, like, what's Mahoozy until everyone comes back from the advertisement, because I didn't really have a means of, like, delaying it, and I have none of my moderators in here. But yeah, so, good news. I now have, like, food, and I have snacks in my kitchen now, so hopefully in future for like the next few weeks and hopefully for the rest of September, I'm not gonna have like, you know, terrible like food decisions when that happens, so that would be great. And I have to work this Saturday, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's my turn to work the Saturday shift, so thankfully I only have to do it like once every 5 or 6 weeks, so it doesn't happen often. It's just a shame that it has to happen when I'm trying to like get back into Final Fantasy 14 on the Saturday stream, because I changed it. So I went for like an early morning stream with Unnamed last week, and the week before it was a party game stream. I don't want to make it for a third week in a row that there is no that there isn't a Final Fantasy 14 stream. So I've opted for going for an evening stream on the Saturday, rather than just skipping out on it entirely because of the, you know, working Saturday shift. So hopefully that will be all right. Yeah, one of the things I should probably look towards is doing like a review of like some of the stuff I might want to put in my wish list. So, because there is the featured item for my throne, which is the contributions towards the under-desk treadmill. I would very, very much love to have that. That's just something to add to the office, so then that way, like, even while I'm in the middle of working or such, or if I'm just watching a TV show or something, I can still, like, walk and such like that, which would be really appreciated. And then, what is another thing to bring up real quickly? Nothing comes to mind immediately. Oh, actually, you know what? Something does come to mind. I should publish the Whatsamahoozy thing, so then that way you can see it. And then, ding. I should have done this a while ago. I should have like done the thingamadiggy of like, oh hey, I'm live, I'm streaming, but I didn't do that because I'm an idiot and I got really distracted with making tea. So I'm gonna do that like really quickly right now to a few of the channels that I'm in. I probably do have to like reevaluate like how many of these channels I'm in at some point though. But yeah. Otherwise, it is what it is. How's everyone else doing this month though, if you mind me asking? Is everyone's doing like, you know, okay? You living? You're alive? You You got anything you wanna share? Like any small positive news, such as, I don't know, you made your bed, or you found a $2 coin under the couch. Small things, you know. Small, like that, you know, may be inconsequential to some people, but it's still, you know, it's something you liked, something positive. Because I find, while it might be worthwhile to, you know, be able to, like, have a mature conversation of, like, oh, I've, you know, not felt like 100% or something or other, that should be something with, you know, people that are, like, really receptive to you and such. It's not the best conversation kind of thing to have while you're in the middle, while, like, in a stream or what have you. But yeah, small stuff. Your body is buckling under the stress of waiting for WAF, but that's just your allergy towards bureaucracy. God damn bureaucracy. We have to wait our turn before we go on a flight. We have to wait until we can go to another country. We have to wait until the passport clears. You've been helping the devs of Critter Crow find and stomp out some bugs in their early access games. Hey, that's pretty neat. I bet you they appreciate that. Nice work there, Xerix. Neat. I have never helped before in a video game beta before. That, like, I've played in video game alpha and betas, but I don't think I've ever done, like, something that was like, you know, oh, let me contribute and give my opinion about stuff. It's never been something like that. So. Is everyone back? Hopefully everyone is out of advertisements right now and they don't have to deal with it. Mainly doing this more so now since I can't sleep. Ah, okay. Today you've been trying to walk the stress out at IKEA. IKEA's not a stress-free area. How do you find IKEA, like, stress-free? IKEA stresses me out. I feel like you get lost. The prices, expensive. The furnishing, uncomfortable. Like, you find out, do you like, is it because of, like, the food court that they have? Is that why? Hopefully it's not like, I hope it's, if it works for you, it works for you. Alrighty then, moving on.
Captain Fairburn, come in.
Chaos. No, we just had him in the party.
Kill them.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's, word bearers?
You will burn.
I think that's the kind of, heretics.
Traitors of the Thousand Suns. Cowards. You will pay for what you've done.
Nice. Alrighty, and then... Oh, there's, like, chaos shit.
Their champion lies defeated. The heresy is infected. More abominations!
Contemporary... Do not be deceived. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting! So that's what the corruption does?
Let us get to work.
Execute you. Oh! He doesn't disappear entirely. He, it's only the armor that gets left behind. Interesting.
Towards the heretics. Let us punish their treachery.
Where's the rest of... Ooh. You know what? I'm gonna swap to a combat knife. I'm gonna see what that's like.
Do not fall prey to their trickery.
Reload real quick. God damn, they are warpy son of a bitches, aren't they?
Reloading.
Ow. Fuck you. Here we go. Oh, okay, so it's the same execution whether I'm using a power sword or another thingamajiggy. Alright. Heal.
Breakers spotted.
Here we go, and... Oh. Yeah! Okay, that one I had a knife do with a thingy, which was good.
Reload. Titus to Captain Akaran.
Akaran heal.
Heretics!
Forces of chaos.
You certain?
No doubt. Heretic Astartes. And their minions.
Throne, damn it. Do you have lose?
Negative. We're minutes away.
Find him and get him out of there. Hurry.
Oh, we gotta assemble at the Temple of Thasian. Thousand Suns. World bearers are burgundy and teeth orientated. Thousand Suns' whole bit is they've been reduced to just their armor due to a botched religion? Wait, a what?
Grabbing equipment. Munitions secured.
So, alright, you're gonna need to explain to me a little bit more about these Thousand Suns. So they don't have bodies anymore. They just have their armor. Is that it? And then they're like locked in the armor? Hi there, Ginger Fox. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing okay. Nope. So, this guy, for instance. Oh. So, there's like nothing in the armor.
Chiron!
Oh, Chiron's being an idiot. Chiron, what are you doing? Oh, we're not going to be able to follow him with that. Oh! Doesn't look like we had much of a problem with him. Thank you for doing the shout out, Jason. I greatly appreciate it.
Cover him!
Chiron, why are you screaming? That colorful dust spewing out is what's left of their bodies. Ah, okay.
Chiron! Take a defensive position! We will cover! Chiron! He is in a rage! He's risking the entire mission! He is trapped over there! There are force fields covering the exits!
They seem impervious to our weapons.
Oh, execution style coming up. Oh, and then there's like weird blue demons. Is this like Zeech's demons? Zeech is the blue one, right? Yeah, look at that.
Deploy frag grenade! My own eyes to see more!
There we go, and more armor. Thank you, thank you. Oh. Oh, I'm going a bit insane. I'm going a little bit... They're kind of confusing me.
Reload!
Hey, there we go, there we go. Nice. So the Thousand Suns are one of the original traitor legions under the leadership of Magnus the Red. They're being Egyptian wizards. Okay, so that's their shtick. Egyptian wizards.
Frag grenade deployed!
There we go. And look at him, look at him. Oh, never mind, he exploded. Fuck you, explosion dude. Chiron looks alive.
Bring me more!
Chiron, that's sounding...
Blocked by heretic sorcery!
The altar! It bears the mark of the archenemy.
Destroy it.
Huh? Oh, there it is. That altar. At some point, their second-in-command decided to cast a Legion-wide spell, but it backfired and bound their souls to their armor.
Structure.
Okay. Oh. Alright, so...
Artifact destroyed.
Look, the force fields are collapsing.
Chiron, move through the exit.
Plasma pistol.
By the gates of Hera, you must.
Las fuel, long range.
Until
Alright, let's try this one.
last vile heretic lies dead at my feet.
And then we got the good old chain sword. I hope Chiron isn't gonna turn, like, heretical on us. Oh, ow. Fuck you.
Chiron, I order you to regroup.
I have other business.
Thrown down.
Throne, damn you, indeed.
I've never seen him lose control like this.
He has put the fate of the whole system in jeopardy.
It would have been cool if we could throw it back, but I guess not. Oh, what the fuck? The bridge buckled then.
Heretic cowards, I will end you all.
Did you see that? The bridge, like, buckled and shit. Alright, another, what looks to be an altar? There we go, there we go. And... Yep.
Our side is clear. Let us cover Chiron.
Alright, where is Chiron is the question. Because I don't see... Oh, there he is, there he is. There we go. Alright, we're gonna need to reload. This thing doesn't have a lot of bullets in it, does it? There we go. Also, why are they vulnerable in... Why do they take more damage from, like, the head if they're just, like, you know, bound to the armor? Is it just, like, one of those cases of, like, oh, it's sort of a little bit of a belief thing where they think that's where the source of their, thingy-majiggy is all the way up back there? Oop, hello.
Clearing the way. Special tactics ready. The champion lies defeated.
There we go. Come on.
Secured.
There we go. Nice work, Chiron. Please don't go
No
heretical.
traitors remain. Get to Chiron now.
How? It's probably a video game thing?
Sergeant,
Probably.
the perimeter.
Yes, brother.
Explain yourself.
Need I justify my hatred?
You need justify your recklessness,
The traitors have a debt to me.
and you would throw away your life to collect.
Death is my duty.
Your duty is to the Emperor.
Also, I'm pretty sure the phrase
You will
isn't...
die when and where he so chooses, not over some personal vendetta.
It's duty until death.
Do you understand?
Lieutenant, you should see this.
Alright, we're having a look at what we get. Alright, so... Sanguinius? Is that Sanguinius with the wings?
Blues must be in there.
They're using some kind of shield.
The altars. Same ones we encountered earlier. They must generate the shield.
Destroy them. Then purge these abominations from the face of this world.
All of us are angry. Alrighty.
Traitors' motives are unmasked.
Seems.
You doubt they wish to stop Aurora?
You will soon learn that when dealing with heretics, nothing is as it seems.
Plasma incinerator? Let's give you a try next. Charge out the plasta, take more ammo and coast more quickly. Okay. Oh wait, this bolt carbine, does it take on the... Yeah, it takes on the second slot. Okay. Alrighty, so... Let's see how this plasma... Because it looks like plasma is effective to some of them.
Restocking. Frag grenade the floor.
Oop. See, it did it again. It did the,
Your worthless life ends.
Oh. Gotta be careful, otherwise it's gonna... Ow! Fuck you, demons! Give me my armor, please. There we go. More armor, please. There was like a shooter indicator and it doesn't... Oh, hello? Yeah!
You told Akara the Mechanicus must be stopped.
Why? The artifact we saw in those classified files may be of chaos origin.
Isn't it destroyed?
It is immensely powerful. They believe they can control it.
And you're just gonna hand it over to Luz? Let it continue?
These are my orders.
Hopefully it will give a further explanation. That's like...
What are they doing?
It matters not. Kill them.
Oh! Magician.
Tear off their limbs.
Kill those slaves of the corpse god. Gain the notice of the eternal ways.
Punch him in the head, rip off their neck. There we go.
Sustained by that altar, no doubt.
Purge the heretics so we may destroy it.
Right in the butt.
Changing magazine.
Meow. There we go.
Your worthless life is empty.
Alright, come on.
Secure.
Now the altar.
I don't exactly have a lot of health, so I'm gonna have to be careful when I get into the next area.
They are attempting to breach the doors.
That is no simple sorcery. Look how twisted the altar has grown. It seems alive. If it lives, then let us teach it of pain and death. It reeks of the warp.
Raise the armor of your contempt and snuff it out.
Look! It shrinks from us.
Then keep close and endure. We must disrupt the spells.
The heretics sent such a meager force to meet us.
Show them the error of their ways.
The more abominations that wish to die. Leave these monstrosities.
Nice! Do not interrupt me, thank you very much.
Reloading. Frag grenade deployed.
The heretics think they can
Oh,
stop
fuck. Fuck.
of their delusions, brother.
Hold this ground.
Damn it.
We need another.
Okay, so I can't stay there. Surround yourself with the greatest warriors at your command, or cower in the deepest, darkest hole you can find. It matters not. Goodness gracious.
It seems alive. If it lives, then let us teach it of pain and death.
Ammo box. Oop. Crack grenades. Alright, so that's where the crack is.
It reeks of the warp.
Raise the armor of your contempt and snuff it out.
Look! It shrinks from us.
Then keep close and endure. We must disrupt the spell.
The heretics sent such a meager force to meet us.
Show them the error of their way.
Wreck or abominations that wish to die. Leave these monstrosities to me.
Back to the warp.
There we go.
The wretches think they can stop us. Let us relieve them of their delusions.
Hold this ground.
My own eyes to see.
There we go. Get some.
Their champion lies defeated.
1%. There we go. Oh, what the hell happened? Where am I? There we go. Stay in the circle, lads, while I execute this person.
No victory.
There we go.
Their champion lies defeated.
We need ammo. Thank you.
Flying. Observe this.
Vengeance for Magnus and his chosen!
Oh, shit.
Words as hollow as your foreign brothers.
You at least can still bleed.
Go.
Your worthless life is empty.
Come on. Alright, where is... Oh, there he is.
Quickly, destroy it.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Oh. Nice.
Your foul trickery is at an end.
Such violence. I love it.
Your treachery ends now.
Crush.
The sorcery is undone. Lieutenant Titus for Lance of Jove, status report. You on the objective.
Nice. That's cool.
Lance of Jove.
Yeah. Well, they didn't get... Once again, there's an advertisement going off. I'm so... If you don't want to deal with the advertisement and what have you, highly recommend subscribing, so then that way, hey, the more of you that are here that are subscribed, the less likely I'm going to have to hit pause and just, you know, wait for all that nonsense to happen. But yeah. Blah. Blah. Yeah. Hopefully everyone's having a wonderful evening. Wonder how many people are like experienced with the Warhammers in my chat. Is it like a lot of people or is it like not very many people? I wonder. Hopefully it's a good number of people. Hi there, Masonic. Welcome to the stream. Guess what? I don't know. You're pregnant? I don't know. That's probably not the correct answer, but what? What is it, Masonic? It's your birthday in 9 days. Hey! Congrats! You're almost there. 9 more days. 9 more days until your birthday. I hope you got anything planned for your birthday? Got anything planned? 32. Would appreciate if you didn't mention what your age is. There is an assumption in this chat that you are at least 18 years old, and I don't want to have to start policing people's age. But yeah. Congrats.
In the name of the Emperor, open the doors.
Seriously, that's it? In the name of the Emperor, open this door. Huh.
Morius Luz.
I owe you my existence.
Come with us.
To where?
The battle barge.
Compliance, but I must speak with Archmagus Nozick at once.
He's there.
He's dead.
Never mind, he's dead.
Dead.
You are to replace him. Luz.
He is just so much metal. Because, like, his lumbering steps, like, sound like a Space Marine's. Like, there's just nothing humanoid below the waist at this point. It's all purely mechanical at that point.
Approaching battle barge, docking in 1 minute.
Alright.
The power source. It's dangerous.
spent my life studying it. I assure you it's quite safe. In the right hands.
Arrogance.
Arrogance.
Why must the Mechanicus meddle with the unknown?
We follow the will of the Omnisire.
Go ahead.
Titus, report to Captain Akaran immediately on arrival.
Confirmed.
Titus? A Captain Titus was killed on the Forge world of Graia over a century ago.
He didn't die.
He died holding the power source in his hands. Not even an Astartes could survive power of that magnitude.
Oh. Oh, never mind, we landed. Never mind. I thought we were gonna get, like, you know, boarded or some shit.
Morius Luz, come with me.
He does understand he wasn't talking to a captain, he was talking to a sergeant, though. Although these two peeps are probably gonna, you know, have a little... They're gonna have their suspicions about the fact that, Sergeant, or Lieutenant Titus over here more likely was a captain, especially since he was part of the, Death Watch at one point, so... Probably got, like, you know, a demotion for whatever happened over at Gaia. Mm. Hi there, Zarek. Eric, thank you for saying hi to Onyx Masonic. Hey, another achievement for rescuing Maurice from a chaos squad.
Administering maintenance.
I will need a repair crew before my next flight.
Yes.
Take note of the battle damage for the engine sears. Armor plating in sections 28B and 40E is compromised, along with void seals. Portside aileron is jammed. Portside afterburner has shrapnel lodged inside. Pressure test the fuel system after the leaks are sealed. Heavy bolters require a full resupply. Short-range sensors have been ready.
I am not understanding everything this man is saying. He had to step away for a bit, but was also focusing on trying to figure out a bunch of things that I thought I was doing was wrong. Ah, okay.
Irrelevant.
I disagree.
That is your right.
Brother, we only want to help you.
Help. You almost cost us the mission, and now you speak of help.
What are these guys doing? The fuck is that supposed to be? Yeah, okay, never mind. I'm not gonna get a straight answer about that one. More Mechanicus. And then there's those two guys there, whatever the fuck their name is. Betting it's gonna be trouble later on. The green thing, I don't think it is gonna be trouble, but there are other things in this game that are gonna be trouble, like the power source, which might be chaos in origin.
Contact with heretic Astartes. How many? Astra Militar and forces report multiple contacts with Rubicae throughout the Hive City. Still no heretic ships on scanners. The Rubicae are using portals, but it is possible they may have been...
Oh, I stepped in too closely.
Lord.
Heretic Astartes. They're showing up in every hive city on Avarax. We're already overstretched by the Tyranids. The traitors have us off guard. The Adeptus Mechanicus tell me Aurora is ready. They say the weapon will work.
Sir.
I know your concerns, Titus, but we may have no choice.
Can we at least warn Calgar of the danger?
Impossible. The astropathic relay on Avarax has been completely surrounded.
Can we vox a message in?
There's a dead zone around the relay. Something's interfering with our vox comms.
We have to get inside.
Emperor, save me. I've tried. Now the Tyranids have launched an attack on our defenses. We're pulling back to the fortress. We'll make our final stand there.
Battlefield projection. Magnify C3.
That's
How are you?
a huge density.
There. The Hive Tyrant.
We've had no reports.
It's there.
What?
We kill it. We break the synaptic connection.
How?
Scatter like rats.
The Hive Tyrant.
How do you know the Hive Tyrant is there?
If it's not there, I cannot afford to throw men after a hunch.
Give me 2 squads.
2 squads.
We need to kill the Hive Tyrant, find whoever is jamming us, and get the message inside the relay.
Like-
6 men. That's all I can spare. Use them wisely.
Thank you.
The Emperor protects.
Okay. So Chaos usually has either green, purple, or black colorization.
Lieutenant Titus,
Receiving.
attend me on the crew deck.
Double the guards and all.
Acknowledged.
An incursion could go unnoticed with all this interference.
Alright, so it looks like we got another... Chaplain wants to see us. We might have some... They might give us something useful. Yeah. I'm guessing Titus is just familiar with, like, Tyranid movements and shit like that. So he's just sort of like, oh yeah, I like the... Because I will be real with you, it does look like there was a huge, like, surrounding of them and such. And there wouldn't be really great reporting, like, closer into the center.
I will take full responsibility.
I gave no report. I have yet to decide if you require formal penance.
Crazy cherubs.
The arch-enemy lurks in the shadows of the Hive City.
Jerichus was blindsided by a rubric Astartes. He slayed the enemy, but lost his left hand.
My goodness, a lot of candles.
Nation stirred.
Indeed, the cowards sent empty vessels.
I wonder how they not deal with, like, candle air and shit.
Titus, the captain has put great faith in you with this mission.
I understand.
To reach the relay, your message to Lord Calgar may determine the course of this war. Choose your words wisely.
You doubt my intentions.
It is your actions I will judge. I need not remind you of the consequences you suffered the last time. If you cannot trust in the will of the Primarch, then you are unfit for this duty.
I wonder what the bone's for. I feel like Unnamed might have explained to me, like, what the point of the bone is on the Astartes there, but...
It seems I am not the only one on this ship with concerns about your intentions.
It is the chaplain's responsibility to ensure our chapter remains pure, not yours.
Your erratic behavior is plain for all to see. And now, I find you have a history of it.
I am doing my duty, as I was then, protecting a system from ruin.
Oh, hey, more, Oh.
Varellus always did put his brothers before us.
Aww.
He once shielded me from a Tau ambush. Rail rifle nearly took his arm off along with half my helmet. The 1 degree of deflection saved my life. We only had to mourn his pauldron that day.
The Emperor will remember his valor long after we join him.
Forgive me, brother.
Well, that's a shame. It would have been nice to see him a little bit more. Alright, down to the next level we go.
Phantom with the 23-month Tier 1 sub. Hi Himbo Daddy.
Hi Phantom, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing alright. I'm just going through the Space Marine 2. I am absolutely loving this game, might I add. Very much enjoying it. The armoring hull is start with new war gear. Absolutely, we're gonna check out the war gear.
There he is.
Oh, hello.
Galio and I were just examining your recent diagnostic.
Uh-huh.
Galio, I object to such intrusions.
As do I. But they are queries I must fulfill.
I seek only answers. Your survival is a profound mystery that must be resolved.
Such unbridled curiosity is the gateway to ruin.
But that is where you are mistaken.
But yeah, I'm doing alright. It's a Wednesday night, but I'm enjoying the Space Marine 2 game.
On the Barium, and there.
What if we held
close
hands
all gateways
as a
to
tree?
ruin permanently. You will see.
Zeebs probably worships Slanesh as a chaos god. Absolutely fucking not. I am a true believer in the Imperium of Man. I believe in the God Emperor. Praise be his name. Also, hi there, Blue. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a wonderful time. How's it going? You doing good? Alright, hang on. Dink, dink, dink. Ow. Alright, so we can either go... So we've got new gear. So there's a plasma incinerator, there's a bolt sniper rifle, there's an instigator bolt carbine, there's the Oculus bolt, marksman, melta,
No.
fully automatic mid-range. 130. So that's a 4.5.237 versus a 4.5. So 4.5.237. Firepower, accuracy, rate of fire, venting speed. Oh, there's like no piercing. This has a little bit of piercing though. We have to deal with Tyranids, so I feel like that would be the more appropriate weapon. And then semi-automatic, rapid fire, high-powered semi-automatic mid-range. Yeah, so we're sticking to the heavy. And then we have the option of the chainsword, the war. Nice work, 76% himbo. Moderate speed, versatile, there we go. I wish we could use the Thunder Hammer, but it's not available for us. You must go now. Your work break is almost over. Ah, I see you're still at work. All right, not to worry, not to worry. I hope I hope work doesn't, you know, stress you out too much, and you do all right. Is also surprisingly too normal for Slanesh. Absolutely, thank you so much. I am clearly a follower of the Imperium of Man. I took a quiz about the Horus Heresy, like factions and what have you, and apparently I would be with the Dark Angels, or the ones that are, you know, Leon L. Johnson crew. You'll need to be a real proper freak. Yep, you'll need to be a real proper freak. All right. So yeah, then we got Righteous Fury. We've not yet unlocked any other look. We could do the Crux Terminatus, but that doesn't really do too much for me look-wise. So we're gonna keep to our normal like Titus look. There's a quiz? Yeah, there's a quiz on the hang on. Let me see if I can find it via the because I think it was sent to me via direct message. I'll drop it into the chat shortly. Give me a few. No, it's not in the... Alright, so Warhammer... Everything you need to know about Warhammer. Control H. Warhammer. So, let's see. 48k hits the thingy. Ah, the Horus Heresy. And then I think from here, it's Choose Your Legion. So yeah, I'm with the Dark Angels. The secretive Dark Angels were among the first Space Marines created by the Emperor, led by the noble Primarch Lion L. Johnson. Their rank and titles owe much to knightly traditions. So yeah, over here. Alrighty. So yeah, obviously these are based off the Horus Heresy time, so I don't think every faction is available, but at least like the major ones. All right. Sup?
Lieutenant, the squad is ready. We are yours to command, Lieutenant. The astropathic relay on Avarax is under direct assault. If it falls, so do our hopes of reinforcement. We will engage in a 3-point operation to break the Xenos command, restore Vox, and secure the relay. We will not fail you. Not one of us can afford to fail this day. Prepare for deployment. I will transmit
Lionel. Oh, Lionel. Lionel Johnson. Alright. Alright, let's go with this. The co-op campaigns I'm probably gonna do with unnamed when I have the chance. An open mind is like a fortress with its gates unbarred and unguarded. Thank you, Librarian Asador Akios. Terrible advice. Wait, you got the son of Horus? Heretic! Xerix is a heretic! The Sons of Horus, aka the Luna Wolves, aka the First Heretic Legion. I think they were the first one. But yeah, they're under like Horus's what's-mahoozies command because, you know, Sons of Horus. Hi there, Arya. Welcome to the stream.
Lieutenant, it should be us facing the Hive Tyrant.
Talassa can handle it.
They have 3 men. We should be with them, but you have us playing courier.
That message has to get through.
And what exactly is that message?
Speak your mind, brother.
I searched the archives. You were once captain of the 2nd Company, and then you disappeared over a century ago.
Oh.
Serving with the Death Watch.
2nd Captain.
There would be records.
Not for a Black Shield.
A Black Shield? You would erase your chapter markings.
I would die for these colors.
Then why?
I was accused. It was my penance.
What were you accused of?
Corruption.
I appreciate a little bit of the honesty he gives, but okay, someone's gonna need to explain to me, like, what does it mean that you're a Black Shield? Like, is it that... So, because I think the way Unnamed explained it to me was that you were a Space Marine without a chapter or something, but that sounds a little bit crazy considering, you know, he was the captain of the second company in the Space Marines, which, like, I don't know much about the Space Marines, but I feel like being the 2nd captain is a serious, like, role. That's like a close to, you know, working directly under Bobby G over there, or Rubute Gilliman. So, what did Phantom get? The Alpha Legion, another heretic. God damn it. I have nothing but heretics in my chat. The other choices I could have gotten was Ultramarines. That would have been nice. Black shields mean you shed your chapter background. Most would do this to not dishonor their home chapter. Ah, okay. So he was a black shield, so then that way the accusation of corruption wouldn't affect the other like Space Marines in his chapter, because the second one would have been like a catastrophic sort of you know.
Iridium here, still on our gunship.
Yeah.
Thalassa has landed, and soon a tyrant will fall.
Acknowledged. Proceeding to relay. Maintain Vox reports. Damocles out. The Astropath relay is 4 miles from here. Expect heavy Tyranid presence.
What of the archenemy?
Sporadic reports, but they are here.
Holy terror.
Food? Nope, it's just
Those are some reinforcements.
just more Acadians. But yeah, this is the Astra Militarum, which should be the, and I think it was explained that these were the Cadian.
Restocking.
Ooh, I want to hear this.
For we are the Cadian Eighth, the most fearsome, tenacious, and relentless bloody men and women that ever crossed the stars. Cadia, our home, lies scattered across the stars. But do we relent? No, sir! No!
What's a Bane Blade?
For we are vengeance, and we shall bring death to any that threaten the sacred soil of the Imperium. You will give your life.
Oh, okay. So this is a.
Will you give your life in the name of all that is good and pure? In the name of our holy emperor? Sir, yes, sir! Then take up the Cadian standard and hold it high so that the enemy will know the name of their executioners!
So yeah, it looks like they got like a few of those things. Oh my good. Wait. Oh my goodness. Can I? Oh. Look at the size of this fucking thing. And I can kick it. Holy shit, it's fucking massive. Hopefully this is the right way. Yeah, this looks like the right way.
Cowards! You are a boil on the pride of the Cadian Guard.
Uh-oh.
You have disgraced yourselves by abandoning your brothers. Your punishment is dishonorable death.
Those things, that's my guts all over the place.
Squad! Ready? Aim! Fire!
Oh. It is pretty cool.
Blessed Emperor, I have failed you. I beg of you that you forgive my cowardice.
I'm guessing those are all, like, people that have abandoned their post and what have you, and they were about to get executed. Oh, hey, a giant fucking Tyranid getting cooked. Damn, there's so much going off.
Entering the Vox blackout, Damocles.
Understood. Damocles out.
Oh, wait, can I not go this way? Oh, this way. This is the way I need to go. Alrighty then. You know what I'm gonna do? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run a 3-minute advertisement instead of a, 1.5-minute advertisement. The reason for it is so then that way I can go to the bathroom and, like, do my business and what have you. But don't worry, there's gonna be like a little clips thingamajiggy if you're subscribed, and plus I'm gonna do a little dance while I'm here, okay? So don't you worry about it, alright? Here we let's go business. Sylvester, freestyle. Bathroom break, BRB. Ooh! Oh my god, look at the size of her tits.
Yeah, why did we
guttural alien screech sounds? Oh my goodness.
fucking sword?
Everyone has a big sword.
I really like the sword.
You shove through your chest.
Shove it
Like,
up your ass.
Look at the.
I'm focused on murdering her. You
Look at the
touched you once.
titties.
Grant, stop looking at the titty.
But it's so good.
I mean, yes, but I don't focus on the titties as someone who wants to fucking murder the shit out of me.
Y'all just gonna let Icy live?
No. Shut up! Do we have car keys?
No, I don't think we do. I'm gonna place the camera.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And
saving $200 a month in my normal thingamadiggy. So 625. So 625 minus $200, which means that even if I get rid of only 2/3 of my, so because I think last month I spent 680 times by 0.666. Even if I only get rid of like 2/3 of my takeaway budget, then there's an additional $450 I can use into other expenses, or I can put it into saving, which means that by the time October comes along, then I would have saved for at least the $3,500 it would have cost me to do that. And that is before I get money from Twitch or from, the tax return from Australia this year. So yeah, also, hi there, Butts. Welcome to the stream. Hi there, Zapper. Fucking try me there. Damn it, there's a Keck W in my way. Move, Mega. This is the most himbo you're going to find me.
That stole your shirt. I'm sorry, I just wanted to oogle zebra titties.
Oogle. Oogle before the zebra titties. Meow. Hang on a second, let me move my keyboard out of the way so I can drag it across the desktop. Watch this nonsense. Spin! Spinning. What's my username on Twitter? It's GrantZeebs. What's my username on Telegram? GrantZeebs. What's my username on Discord? GrantZeebs. What's my username on Twitch? GrantZeebs. What's my username on YouTube? Well, YouTube is technically using a Google account in order to do that kind of nonsense, and I can't have a direct link to YouTube, but lo and behold, GrantZeebs. Ta-da. Don't say it. Don't say it, Grant. You know what Bone wrote. You don't need to say it out loud. You don't need to say it. It's up, dog. What's up with you?
Oh. Diddums.
Oh.
Diddum. Oh.
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 Ech.
Ech. Tell me what he can turn into. During the Fourth War, in bear form! In bear form! Fourth Age, in bear form! You're not telling me he can turn into a bear? It's called bear form!
That's not canon.
What do you mean it's not canon? What do you mean that's not canon? What do you mean that's not canon? Yeah, this Zeeb just can't do anything correctly, and this is supposed to be like just a first time I actually utilize my VR model for any further modifications, because if I keep modifying it, I'm just gonna be like, oh, I'll utilize it in the after the next update or the next change I put towards it, and it's like I'd end up not using it, and it'd just be like. I didn't pick Estinian for romance option. I was just guessing who was at the door. I wasn't picking my romance option. None of the Scions are my romance option. I like the rabbit girls. I love the Admiral. Alrighty. So many better choices. Sorry for the advertisements, but I am back. They're all weak. Stop this. Go back to here. Stop this. Hello? Hi? Who's not dead? Sound off. Alright, switch style. So on speed style, fast combos with great reach. Power style, slow swings, best against swarms.
Got this scar from an Eldari.
Alrighty, here we go. Hello, Lola Incineroar. Ah! My beautiful hair!
If we encounter Chaos forces,
You need not concern yourself with me, Lieutenant.
disappear like that again, and you'll be facing the Master of the Watch.
I understand. Sir, why did you not tell us of your penance earlier?
It was not your business.
And now it is.
You have made it so. Through suspicion and intrigue.
Sup, Cadian? Marksman rifle, bolt carbine, plasma incinerator, bolt rifle with a grenade launcher. Let's fucking go. Oh, a multi-melta.
Open the gates!
They're jammed, my lord. Damage from the last attack.
Move aside. It's my turn.
Stand aside. Seal the gates behind us.
Yes, my lord. Close the gates! The relay is ahead, through the arch.
Trench sword, some extra ammo and plating.
We can compare scars like
Spores!
Engage!
Barbecue that motherfucker.
Another one dead.
Ow, what the fuck? There we go. Mine.
Ravener eliminated. Changing magazine.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Arya, for welcoming me back. I greatly appreciate it. That's everyone?
The spores collapsed the bridge. There's no way through.
I may have an alternate route.
Proceed.
Transmitting to your specs now. We'll need to clear this debris.
Oh, that debris. I see. Alrighty then. Was trying not to drown, or I would have said welcome back as well. Not to worry. Thank you for the welcome back. I appreciate it. See you in a bit, Jason. Not to worry. I'm sure Jason will appreciate that. There we
Pond is
go.
clear.
Oh, hey, a bell. Ooh.
Make short work of them. Indeed.
Alrighty. That's a big fucking bell. Oh wait, their tanks are doing a good job. Never mind. They're fine. Protect the little ones!
Reload.
Congratulations, soldier. You're the last man standing. Let's get moving.
Captain Prower paid me to say die foul Xenos. Rise, sons of Vulcan.
Ooh, hi there, Captain Prower. Nice quote. I was not aware of the Rise, Sons of Vulcan quote, but needies.
Our brothers are getting hammered down there.
Oh.
Delta Wing, we have given the infernal Xenos a fitting burial.
Alrighty.
Enlighten us, Lord Titus.
The swarm would go feral without their connection to the hive mind, but their focus is still on the relay.
Reports confirm the Lieutenant's assessment. Enemy cohesion is still in full effect. That beast is not yet dead. Our word is bond. This void-spawn behemoth has seen its last day.
My sword. Thank you.
I've got you. Lay waste to them, brothers. Resupplying.
Get the fuck out of here. There we go. I need to get rid of that thing that's floating up there right now. There we go. Oh, so visceral. We stand the salamanders and we fuck the Death Guard. Understandable. Just remember that Titus spent a century with the Death Guard as penance. So, look at him now. Where is... So they're not feral yet.
Restocking.
Alright, down this way we go. Let's see... No secrets or data slates.
Nani?
What was Titus doing with the... Oh, sorry, not the Death Guard, not the Death Guard, but my mistake. The the Death Watch, the Black Guard. He was a Black Guard. I mixed up my Astartes. I'm sorry. What's here? Nice. I need one of those. And then... No, that's it. Alright, sounds... Alright, looks groovy. Any other?
The door is inoperative. Is there an alternate route?
Yes, but it would add considerable time.
Then we must find the power and restore it.
Alright. You're talking about the Death Guard, the stinky green boys. Ah, okay. Yeah, no. Fuck the stinky green boys. Fuck the Nurgles. Alrighty.
Hello.
What? Hi there, Norbert. Welcome to the stream. You got friends in here? You got some friendlies here? Oh, hello. Oh, Guardian Relic. I will...
We shall defy death's grasp.
There we go. That will be very helpful. Crack. Melta. I'll stick to my normal, like... I'll stick to my frag grenades. You don't appreciate the burgle slander?
Open the door.
You don't like the you don't like that we don't like Nurgle? Oh, I'm sorry. This is a oh. Ow, fuck you.
Changing magazine.
This is a loyalist stream.
Crates found in Sector 55 of the Upper Hive contain 12 volumes of dubiously heretical works. Also recovered 14 Cantrail-type las rifles, 8 las pistols, various designs. The serial numbers are filed off. Heretical symbols are applied to the surface of the weapons. I am enclosing picts supporting the evidence. Evidence to be destroyed in accordance with invasion protocols. Traces of the cult indicate that it has long since taken root in the Hive. The mere thought that he has reached the highest levels turns my stomach. These officials, bureaucrats, and politicians are so mired in their intrigues that they warmed and nurtured the roots of heresy within their walls. Well, the fire of retribution is already consuming them. The punishment of the Emperor is inevitable. End of record.
Noted. Cool. Thank you for the record. Weird that they would destroy even like las guns and pistols.
Cut them down. Slaves to the ruins low.
There we go. And then is that all of them? That looks to be all of them. Alright, assembling. But yeah, I join you, brother. I much rather prefer playing with friends and like close acquaintances when it comes to like video games, especially when it comes to you know, just random drop-ins and what have you. I do have community streams that will go off, so basically think of it as like a community morning or night, depending on which of the and it normally goes off on the last Saturday of the month. Last month we did Jackbox Party Pack. That was pretty fun until someone dropped the N-word in chat. That wasn't too great. And so this month I haven't yet decided. It might be Monster Hunter Worlds, but that's something I can figure out in my own time. So yeah. You feel like I would be a good Terminator Marine? Maybe. I took a quiz.
Elaborate. The Traitor Legion's legacy of deception goes back 10,000 years. They are masters of it.
They are clearly here to stop Aurora.
I am not convinced. There is more to this, I am sure of it.
Their motives matter not. I will kill them just the same.
I wanted to send that message earlier when you were talking about like you don't appreciate the Nurgle bashing, and it was like Space Wolves are pretty cool. Punch him in the head, rip the armor off. Nice. There we go.
They never learn.
There we are. Swap to pistol. Oh, heal? pick up the thingy. There we go. Alrighty. Is that everyone? Yeah, looks like most of them. Imperator Omnif. Imperator Omnivs. Who the fuck is that supposed to be? I don't recognize him.
Resupplying.
Ammo, heavy bolter pistol. I'm currently wielding right now. Reload the pistol. Shock grenades? Sure. I'm not a huge fan of them, but they're better than nothing.
Deploying shock grenade. Reload. Heresy and corruption.
Oh, I can't go down there. Never mind.
Well, if they kill each other, all the better.
Let's hope they kill each other. Oh, can we just leave him be? Hopefully so.
Coming. Penetrate his armor.
Let's see if we can... Oh, damn, he's got, like, shoulder-mounted, thingamadiggies. Ow, fuck you. Nice. Punch him in the head and... There we go, I love that.
Enemy terminator destroyed.
You took the quiz, and apparently you're one of the fisty boys. So, Captain... So, you're talking about the Iron Fists, is it? That's the people that do, like, the, Is the Iron Fist the yellow boys, where they're like, oh, they make the strongholds and shit? Yeah. I ain't taking the quiz. I'm no Astartes. Ow.
Changing magazine.
You're gonna take that quiz. We're gonna see whether you're a loyalist or a heretic. Oh, hang on.
We should turn around and regroup with the main force.
What's the plan, Titus?
Titus to Resilient. Requesting Gamma Pattern Hammerfall bunker on my location immediately.
You mean to jump?
Request confirmed. Stand by.
There's our entry.
That's quite a shot.
Damocles to Talassa. Report.
If Talassa fails to take out the Hive Tyrant,
oh,
then our little excursion was all for naught.
Ooh. Armor, communion. Oh, okay, so we're getting jump packs again. Nice.
We should have remained with the main force.
Why toil in obscurity when there's glory center stage? Hey, Sergeant?
Our brothers are dying while we sneak around in the shadows.
If we fail to send this message, we face a massacre.
I did not know they had eyes. I've never seen a Tyranid up close where it was like, oh yeah, they have eyeballs.
You say there will be a massacre. How do you know that? Why else would the traitors be trying so hard to stop us? Our lieutenant said it himself. There's deception at work.
If you got something to say, Sergeant.
You got some... He's not gonna tell us more, he's not gonna tell us more. You got Ultramarines? Nice work, Sir Dragon. You got one of the blue boys. Sergeant's pretty good at this. And we're playing catch up. Norbert just going basic bitch. Look, at least he's not a stinky boy. At least Sir Dragon, one of my regulars, ain't some stinky boy. I don't know much about Space Marines. A lot of the stuff I know is from memes or this game right now. And then I also read Horus Rising. I've got other books that I want to read as well. I just don't have them yet. Hello? Nice work on getting the Emperor Anglefish there, Sir Dragon. You pretty sure Grant would be a Salamander's Terminator?
Gabriel, you're not thinking straight. I could say the same of you. Damn it, you are an Ultramarine. Now act like one.
There we go. Oh, he swapped me to a chainsword. Damn it. I thought I still had my power thing. Also, I've already forgotten the,
Well fought, guardsman. Form a defensive line at that breach. Yes. Reinforce the breach.
Alrighty. Fuck the... For Papa Nurgle, fuck the Emperor. Hey! 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 We're here for the loyalists. Alrighty. Marksman, Instigator, Bolt. I'm gonna go with the auto.
Very good. Engaging thrusters.
Servitors doing their biz.
Space Marines.
Oh, not the little ones. I want one of the big boys. There we go. Nice. Ah. Nurgle isn't rotting on a throne? No, instead Nurgle decides to like, you know, rot himself or kidnap the like goddess of life or something like that and imprison her and force her into a marriage. I may only know memes, but I have been educated. I have been educated by amazing people who have, like, you know, explained little bits and pieces to me and some of the craziest nonsense. I will have to, like, you know, take a step back and all that kind of nonsense because I don't want too much all caps and hate going off in the chat right now. But like, you know, like I understand that the whole point of the Warhammer 40K is that everyone is fucked, everyone is evil. So, like, I understand the Space Marines, problematic. They're like hyper-religions and such. The Adeptus Mechanicus, problematic as fuck. They're all trying to, you know, relinquish their humanity and turn into steel. The Tyranids are fucked. They're creatures that are they're from outside our system, bug people, like, you know, hyper apex predators trying to take over our systems. The Eldar are fucked. They're just, you know, really old religion that, like, activated Slanesh, and so they're trying not to die, but they're also trying to, you know, get back their former glory. The Necrons are fucked. They got tricked by their elder god or something like that, and now they're, like, you know, walking mummified machines. The Orcs are fucked. They're just spore, like, green skins that are all about the Wah. The heretics are fucked. They're all part of the Chaos Gods. The Tau... Originally, the Tau didn't have too big of a problem. They were just like, oh, what if blue alien with mecha? But then, you know, later on, then they were like, oh, hey, these guys will, like, you know, put you into a commune, and you're gonna be equal, but technically speaking, you're gonna be lesser. Now quit it with the memes before you start coming off as a freak. While Izzy may not be a moderator in my chat, Izzy is right. Orcs are just Fallout super mutants in their final form. They're also fungi. That was something that was taught to me, is that the orcs, like, for whatever reason, they just spawn more orcs. They're like a fungus. That was a weirdy one like that.
Signal's being jammed, as the captain suspected.
Tell us a report.
I'll see no slicks.
Talassa, you cut out. Repeat.
Uh-oh. I think we're in the Vox, like, dead zone.
So of our 3 objectives, none have been achieved.
No going back now.
Oh, boy. I feel like all 3 are gonna fail here. I feel like all 3 are gonna fail. This isn't gonna be a successful, This isn't gonna be a successful mission. We're all gonna have problems. Oh, I see. Wog. Yeah. I do appreciate the memes of, like, Warhammer and such. I just don't want it to, like, end up being a case of, you know, my army is better than your army, kind of arguments in chat. Just be mindful of that, so... Oop. There we go. Where's the next one?
Jump back engaged.
Nice. And then we jump over this thing. A decent amount of forage is how often they can get through a combat without spouting too much memes too often. Rotters at the bottom of the warp cannot shut up about memes. The corruption has taken hold. All right, Izzy, enough. All right, I appreciate the little, like, hey, you know, let's tone down on the memes and going about, you know, the heavy kind of nonsense. We don't need to keep on pressing and keep on, like, kicking while people are down. You're done with your... Cool. Awesome. Because here's the thing, is every fandom, like... Oh, yeah, I was able to counter that one. There we go. You don't even play... Oh, no, neither... Okay. Alright, I know this is going to sound controversial as fuck, considering I am playing a Warhammer game right now. I have never played the tabletop before. I have never played the tabletop. I've only read one book. My knowledge of Space Marines, Warhammer 40k, and such comes from, the... Not Vermintide. What's the other one from Fat Shark? Darktide. So, my knowledge of Warhammer comes from Darktide, Space Marine 1. Right now, what I'm going through is Space Marine 2, and a number of memes. So, there's... Oh, and one book. So right now I've gone through Horus Rising. I absolutely adored that. I got through that in like a week and a half, amazingly enough. I thought I was gonna struggle with the book, but turns out didn't take me that long, and I actually was like enthralled by it and everything, which was great. So yeah. Anyway, back to my like original like observation thingamadiggy. That was like brought up because of like Izzy, is the fact that I find that every fandom has, you know, it has, this is a problem that you have to deal with fandoms. And I feel like it's because, like, what is with that beeping noise?
Jump pack engaged.
Oh, data slate.
Frost runs across my
Nope, that's not where the data slate is making the noise.
The astropathic tower is right in front of me, and the sounds of battle follow on my heels. As if everything is converging on this place. I suspected that
Ooh, Guardian Relic? I already got one of those. Okay.
it seems that it has been decaying for far longer
Where the
than I imagined. The evil of ancient legends
Where's
has
the
taken
button?
root here. A foul sorcerer whose name alone is a curse. May the Emperor be
Damn it.
with me. I will go to the end.
Where is the beeping?
Jump pack found with dust.
Oh, okay.
Proceed on foot.
Oh, okay, so that's what's happening. Damn. Alrighty. But yeah, every fandom has that side where it's like just, like, the best way I can describe them is they're just absolute shitters.
We fight.
Like, because here's the thing, is that fandoms serve a purpose. In the social contract, they serve the purpose of, like, you know, once you're outside of schools, once you're outside of, like, familial ties, or due to the lack of school and familial ties, fandoms are meant to serve as a sort of, ground of familiarity for you to communicate with other people. It's easier for you to communicate with them because you have similar interests, and so you're able to, you know, hold conversations that aren't going to normally upset you, or have you, you know, talk about, or, you know, not have a full understanding of, like, what it is the other person is talking about and picking up on, you know, cues of sarcasm and what have you. The point of these fandoms is so then that way, when you go into environments that are not, you know, your fandom, so for instance, holding a job, communicating with bosses, or in an environment that, or, you know, communicating in social circles that you are not familiar with and are not, you know, a huge dedication towards, you have the skills in order to communicate with them and do so without, like, sort of, without, you know, very, you know, confronting sort of vitriol or problems and what have you. Ooh, hello.
I am death, servant of the Emperor, and you will taste my wrath.
Oh, hello. There we go. That's, oh, you're already dead. Never mind. There we go. I'm aware that shitheads are it's built in, but I'm more worried about bigots. That's all. Here's the thing. Unless the fandom is founded on, like, the political views of bigots and what have you, you are going to have those in the fandom. But what you're ideally, oh, Carnifex, where the fuck is a, oh. Nope. Oh, there he is. We're just doing all kinds of, like, physical damage right now. am not figuring this out correctly. Oh boy. Oh. Nice! Okay, here we go. Free shot. Nice. Oh, there we go! And come on, come on, come on. Hey, there we go. Thank you so much for the follow, Norbert. I do appreciate it. But yeah, so here's the thing. If there is, like, the point of the fandom is so then that way, if you do have people that, you know, have, like, some bigotry sort of tendencies or views, the ideal course of action isn't to just, you know, kick him right at the get-go and just sort of be like, nope, that's not your place here, fuck off. You're supposed to at least do, like, just a little bit of, hey, I don't know if you realize this, but, you know, that's not okay kind of stuff. Like, give him a chance to, like, you know, redeem and understand, like, what they're saying is wrong and can be, you know, misconstrued. Nice, we survived that. Thank goodness.
The Hive Tyrant was controlling these underlings via synaptic link. The turmoil you now see among the enemy can mean only one thing. The Hive Tyrant is dead.
But yeah, that's the idea. That's the ideal social contract of fandoms, especially ones that are not, like, associated to a political tie or a way of life, is that so then that way you have the opportunity of, you know, meeting and communicating with people of a different, like, way of life and a different political view, and you can either, you know, try and have, like, sort of a centralist, like, you know, cohabitation, or be able to correct any sort of, you know, improper behaviors that were not properly assessed during, like, family or schooling sort of socialization. It's not perfect.
Any contact with Talassa?
It's not perfect, don't get me wrong. The furry fandom, for instance, does not keep to this social contract very well. They would more rather, historically speaking, I would more rather say that they're very much frightened. They're very much introverted. They're like, we don't want to step on anyone's toes. We don't want to, like, you know, sort of have to, you know, put, like, you know, raise any yellow or red flags about your behavior. We'd much rather, you know, trust that you're an adult and that you will, you know, sort of see this thing yourself. And it's only when you break the camel's back that the furry fandom will be a case of like, no, you can't be one of us. We, you know, excommunicado and such like that. We do not associate with this person. Which isn't great. Because here's the thing, is that most people coming into the furry fandom are coming in because of, you know, rejection and what have you. It is not a... It's not a crazy assessment to find that a number of people in the furry fandom are, like, quite, like, they're either on the spectrum, there's usually a alteration to the, you know, to the either the sexual or gender entity, so, oh, like, you find all these kinds of peeps here. So they're no doubt going to be rejected by whatever, you know, social group they be in, whether family, school, or another fandom. So obviously you want to have them feel comfortable and have them join in and such. But you still have to be a fandom with a social contract of, hey, if we see something, say something. It doesn't have to be at the level of, like, Twitter, where it's just like, we need to cancel this person. Hashtag cancel the furry. Hashtag retribution. None of that. You know what it just needs to be? It needs to be you, as a friend, going, hey, dude, I don't think that was a great thing to say. Hey, you know, in, like, the company that you're in, or, hey, I'm fine with this. You're okay, but maybe be mindful of who you say this to and what have you. So, like, you've had your fair... It's tiring being thrown into the middle of drama and having to cut people out. Yes, there is drama in the furry fandom. And a lot of it boils down to, you have a people problem with this person, and and you're making it, like, as if this is a this is sort of like a fight for like moral grounds sake, and it's like some of that can exist because, as I mentioned earlier, we don't call out the yellow or red flags with our friends until it's a proper problem, in which case the only option we have is cutting people out.
I will make sure the captain hears of your
deeds.
I need no commendation.
Ha! Is that right?
Enough!
Oh, Titus didn't like that.
Lieutenant, upon completion of this mission, I request transfer to another squad.
For what reason?
I will pass your request to the captain.
Yeah. Everyone in the furry fandom can tell you of an experience of someone breaking their trust, pushing them out of a group, or just sick and tired of hearing about whatever personal drama has decided to, like, spill out into, you know, the wider group. Oh, hey. Medicastems. Was gonna say something about that, but it's best to leave ugly past with certain people. And yes, no, fair enough. Thank you, Xerix, for raising that. You know, this is like what I'm talking about does ring true to you and such. I also appreciate the restraint you have. Like, I know it, like me myself, for instance, like in an empathy sort of thing, will normally try and speak of my own experiences as a means of like, hey, I understand what you're going through, or I understand a fraction of it because of this experience I've had. So I understand the desire to do that, and I thank you for your restraint on, hey, maybe it's not best talking about it here.
I interrogated several attendants, all of whom denied knowledge of the Thousand Sons or any cultist activities within these walls. Obviously, all potentially heretical topics were outright denied or refuted. I have requested to see the choirs of astropaths relaying their psychic missives across the galaxy. Waiting for my guide, I noticed far too many lingering glances. Eyes looking away as I turned to meet their gaze. I am being watched. I know what my instincts tell me. Despite my lack of proof, despite their dismissals, the Thousand Sons have infiltrated this facility.
This is just reoccurring memories, is it right now, Xerix? It's just either rekindles the fire or keeps pouring fuel into it. Yeah. It's tough socializing.
Loading up.
Chambers 2, 9, 18, and 36 are vacant.
Richard Arawade?
The Hive fleets cast a psychic shadow that tears at the minds of psychers, denying worlds in their path the chance to call for aid. Let us hope we are not too late.
Alright, marksman bolt. Let's go with a heavy bolt rifle. So, I'm already using the heavy bolt. I already have a power sword. Ignorance is bliss sometimes, but only with certain things. Look, the quote about ignorance is bliss is... I need to find that quote and, like, the original intention it was built for and such. I feel like it was for one of those ones where it's like, you don't, like, learning about... Like, you don't need to learn how the sausage is made kind of thing. I feel like that's where the ignorance is bliss is meant to be directed towards. Uh-oh. Is he supposed to be screaming like that?
You shouldn't be here.
I have a message for Marnius Calgar.
I cannot help you.
It's urgent.
In addition to the shadow cast in the warp by the Tyranids, demonic forces are now poised to attack anyone who opens their minds to the warp.
Fuck.
You would flee from your duty.
I would have you know.
Ooh.
Give me your message.
Oh, okay. Okay. What is she absorbing?
it. Let us begin.
She can just read our fucking mind?
Silence. There are no guarantees.
Okay. Hopefully this doesn't cause a rift to open up. Oh. What's with the... Alright, what was the point of the bloodletting?
What is this?
I have no idea. This is not a good sign.
You wish to bring Olga here that you may kill him. Heretic. Heretic. You will betray us as you betrayed them on Graia.
Lies.
Arrest him! He means to kill her!
Lieutenant! Gadriel, I am no heretic.
Uses the power stone by himself. He must be stopped!
Oh.
Kill the heretic! Kill him!
Enough!
Uh-oh.
Kill him!
Meanwhile, Chiron is just standing on the side.
What have you done?
What the... Okay, Chiron.
How gracefully you dance.
Imura? Wait, I thought their bodies were gone. Why can we see this guy's, like, face and shit? Uh-oh.
What sickly pleasure to find beyond the immaterial. My thanks to thee, dear cousin. Titus. So long have I watched thee through a tattered veil, yearning for this.
I assure you it will be brief.
Yes. Let's play the game. Power of the eternal realm is beyond comprehension. You have tasted it, Titus. Held its essence in your hand.
Okay.
It calls to each of us, extending a divine hand. The Emperor died. He lies to us all. In his greed, he forbade us from tasting our own birthright. Look into the void for just a moment, and you will see the infinite wonder of things.
Reload real quick. Alright, let's avoid the heretical nonsense. you. Let's get some armor real quick. Thank you. Where's our... There you are. You're almost dead. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Where are... There we go. Got him. Ow! Flashbang. Oh, another... What the... Oh, shit. Okay, we're gonna have to... Headshot. Oh. Fuck you. Ow, 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 ow. Stop it, stop it. Get off me. Oh. Grenade.
Changing magazine. Frag grenade out.
For his troubles, he was ejected from the... Wait.
Did he escape?
The higher level wizard has the ability to stave off that spell. Okay. The 1,000 Suns originally suffered from constant rapid mutation, so the Grand Librarian Ahriman tried to solve this issue with a spell. Sorta worked. Can't mutate your body if you don't have one. Noted, that is a terrible alternative. No body or a mutated body.
I don't know.
And then he was rejected. Oh, cool.
This is Titus.
Chaos forces have been detected entering the system. They are going after Aurora. We are leaving for Demerium immediately.
How did you know? I was a boy on Calf when the Word Bearers attacked. I came to know the mark of chaos.
We're returning to the battle barge. I understand your actions, but your suspicions end here. Are we clear?
We're not, but... You
Yes,
know.
sir.
Gadriel ain't done with us. This is going to be an awkward This is an awkward ride back home. The we tried killing each other, and the only person that made sense was Chiron back there, who, historically speaking, was also batshit, like, you know, turned for destruction against heretics, so... But hey, we're all alive. Alright. Demarum.
Brothers, this is Aurora. Within the last few hours, traitor forces have arrived in their hundreds.
Advertisements going on. It's possible that Chiron was there during the Horus Heresy, so his particular hatred is understandable. But he doesn't have the dots. He doesn't have the service dots like what's a Muhuzi does. So for him, it's like a recent thing. He's probably like not even 50 years old at this point. I didn't see any dots on Chiron. Titus, meanwhile, Titus over there, he's got like 4 dots, which means that he's served for like 200 years. What's the thing? What's the thing? What you gonna tell me? What's the rub? Do tell me, what's the rub? "30 seconds on the clock." Primaris Marines were invented after that. Yes, that is true. The Primaris Marines were invented after the heresy. So, what happened to Titus is that he was just a normal space marine when he was like 100 years old. So back on Gaius, he dealt with some like heresy nonsense. A cadet went to an inquisitor instead of the chaplain to, like, you know, report of like, oh, this man has heresy because, you know, he wasn't corrupted by the power source, which is, you know, very extra corrupting. And he's like, that doesn't sound like it. And plus you're kind of, you know, calling a cop for someone that's meant to be just a teacher to answer these, but I guess I'm gonna have to do my job. So he does his job. So Titus over there, he goes and, you know, hangs out with the Death. He's like a Black Shield with the Space Marine like faction that's within the Inquisition, where they're like, you know, paying penance and what have you. And so he's doing that for like 100 years or so. Near the end of his 100 years, so where we're at right now, he was given something called a Rubicon surgery. They mentioned this back at the beginning of the game, where Titus over there, he got the Rubicon surgery, so now apparently he's a Primaris, which is like the in-between of a Space Marine and a Primarch. In this case, Rubute Gilliman.
The facility. Commandeered.
Where is Luz?
Inside.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me?
Luz and the power source.
Holy terror.
Perhaps you were right, Titus.
What's our theoretical?
We've diverted all available forces to Demerium, but we're well below full strength. We've prepared an assault, but it has little chance of success, unless we take care of this. They're using it to draw in reinforcements. For every one of them we kill, 2 more show up in their place. It's heavily guarded.
I'll need a combat squad. 5
There's
men.
2 type of Primaris Marines, the original type from 10,000 years ago, kept secret the whole time, and then the second type where modern Marines can undergo the process.
What is it?
He was nearly dead as well. I don't know how surgeries work, but I'm gonna be real with you. If you have a high chance of dying when you've got nothing wrong with you and such, I feel like there's even less of a chance of you surviving the surgery if you're on death's door. But apparently that's what they did for Titus.
Every attempt to bring it down has failed. Your squad has developed a reputation for unconventional approaches. Any ideas?
Thank you.
I've read of Demerium.
It's a burial world. 4,000 years ago, there was a clash between the Ultramarines and the Heretics.
Ooh.
The Sword of Atreus, a battle barge wrecked in the fighting, was laid to rest here. What of it? Records state that while its body was ruined, its engines burned bright, even as it was interred.
Okay, so what's the plan with them?
It may not fly, but it might ram. A long shot to say the least.
Worth a try.
Very well then. Navigation systems are probably dead.
We can't afford to miss. He's right. Someone will need to get close to the target and place a beacon.
Our offensive launches in 90 minutes. The Emperor guide you, brothers.
And you, sir.
The Rubicon Primaris isn't pleasant either. How's unzipping your skin sound like? Very fucking painful. They have to be awake during all this?
See me on the crew deck at once.
As you wish, Chaplain.
Ensure brothers Chiron and Gadriel are in attendance.
Oh, we gotta go talk to the chaplain. He's not happy with us. It doesn't sound like he's happy with us.
Using an ancient battle barge as a battering ram. An unorthodox approach.
You disapprove?
On the contrary, it is inspired thinking.
I reluctantly second that.
Reluctantly. Because it will go to your head.
Lol. That was a fun little interaction where he's just like, this is a cool idea, but I hated that it came from you. Came from Gadriel, a dude that, like, has way too much time on his hands. Alrighty. Sup, Chaplain?
Titus, I am troubled by a report I have received from the Astra Telepathica. An accusation of heresy.
Her voice was puppeted by her.
The lieutenant will answer.
The Psycho was possessed.
Your sergeant believed otherwise.
I was mistaken.
You attempted to incapacitate your lieutenant.
Thank the Emperor I failed.
And now, the only individual capable of reaching Lord Kelgar is dead. By your hands.
Hi there, Tabitha.
All of you. Should I suspect even a flicker of corruption, I will not hesitate as you did. You are dismissed.
I just got an achievement for listening to all the Chaplain's dialogue, and the title of the achievement is "Why is it always you three?" Which is a reference to Harry Potter, where Professor McGonagall is like, "Why is it whenever something happens, it's always you three?"
Time to go.
Time to go, time to go, time to go, time to go. Do you suppose the Chaplain is a major character in the plot because of 12 years of fans saying Leandro should have went to the Chaplain? I doubt the Chaplain is Leandros, I will be real with you. I feel like Leandros is irrelevant to the story.
Viridian is hoping for a miracle. The rest of us will move to clear the reliquaries around the basin and establish a beachhead. We are facing overwhelming enemy numbers on Demerium. But the heretic filth down there have stirred the wrath of the Second Company.
Oh, clipping.
Upon the traitors such agony, the likes of which they have not seen since the burning of Prospero. They will suffer, they will break, and they will fall. Sons of Guilliman,
For the glory of Ultramar!
For the glory of Ultramar! They look like little figurines. They look like what you would actually have in the tabletop. Like this would be like a full army or something, I reckon. I don't know. I've not played the tabletop. This might be like hugely inaccurate where it's just like, oh, you can't have tanks in your thingy-majiggy. The Ultramarines can't have that many people or something or other. Like, let's have a look. Hang on. So so it looks like a team of 9 with someone leading them. So you got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You got 60 Ultramarines, a flag bearer, what looks to be a captain, 9% cute. If this is the mission I think it is, I hope you got a piss bottle. Is it a long mission? Oh, war gear.
Lieutenant Titus, blessings of the Omnissiah upon you.
Galio, theoretically, could Tacticus armor withstand a suborbital drop? Gravis is too cumbersome for our needs.
Negative. Extreme risk. Dense debris fields litter the entry flight path.
But if we avoid the debris, could we survive the descent?
Calculating. Survival probability equal to 62.4136. Unacceptably low.
Thank you, Galio.
Damn.
An orbital drop without Gravis armor. It is a sound strategy, with a 38% failure rate. We are facing much less favorable odds today.
Oh, wait, hang on. Was there a marksman, stalker, Oculus, bolt, instigator? Nah, I'm gonna stick to my heavy. And then go back to the heavy. There we go. And apparently we're not allowed to have a melee weapon, unfortunately. Alrighty. Alright, so the mission that I'm about to go into, Tabitha, is it like a really long mission? Because I've got like 30 minutes of streaming left in me. 30 to 40 minutes of streaming left in me. Also, what's down here? Nothing. The door is closed. Cool. It's basically 2 missions crammed into 1. So yeah, because I went through like... I would say I went through like 2 missions? Yeah, it's been about like 2 or 3 missions a stream, I would say. So if this one is like actually crammed into... If this is actually 2 missions crammed into 1, it might actually be too much. And then meanwhile, there's like, you know, all these missions that I've not yet done. But I don't want to do them... I don't want to do them without unnamed. Because I feel like, you know, I don't want them, like, missing out on this. And I might ask them of, like, hey, do you want to, like... Do you want to play some, you know, multiplayer together? And do we want to go for, like, a, yeah, Tyranid Swarm, Tyranid Swarm, Tyranid Swarm with a possible Chaos. 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 Tyranid Swarm. So yeah, there's like several missions. It's like set up a trap for the Tyranid Swarm, time your ambush to decimate their forces, deploy charges. Like, it looks like you get points and such. And then we've got like multiplayer. Do we want to do just one multiplayer match? So then that way, you know, it's something fun at the end that isn't going to be like a huge amount of, whatsamahoozies? I reckon that might be a good idea. Flesh is weak and Ryan Gosling on the opposing side. The operations are essentially the B team perspective. The squad of 3 guys Titus sends out. Yeah, I'm familiar. So yeah, that's what it was explained to me by Unnamed, so that's probably what I'll do with Unnamed. I have not done, like, any customization to my Space Marines. Excuse me. Classes have the same amount of health, but different levels of armor. Noted. Alright, I think I'm gonna go for, like, a heavy dude. Because I need a... I'm gonna go for a heavy dude. Hopefully it doesn't take forever to load. Get to actually play the game with the various classes. Nice. I've only ever played, like... The other classes I've only done, like, via multiplayer one time with Unnamed. Damn, this looks cool. Oh, hey, there's a crypt down there. I'm assuming it's a crypt. Oh, I'm part of the heretics. Okay. The assault class has jump packs, where I can either use a heretic bolt pistol, grapple launcher... Restore armor to all squad mates in the area of effect. Yep, sounds good. Let's see how we go here. Nurgle. We're going with a... Instead of just the modified tactical, that is Titus. Oh, there's a little bit of rubber banding.
Warband holds the advantage. Oh, we won. Better he was cold.
Oh, Jesus. The flesh is weak got me. I missed the bit where you decided to do PvP and was wondering why on earth Titus is a Death Guard. Yeah, I swapped over to PvP, sorry. Because apparently the next mission is like 2 missions crammed into 1, and I didn't want to deal with that nonsense. Thanks, Ryan Gosling. That's exactly how I wanted to spend my day. Let's keep to the high ground, shall we? There we go, got a kill assist, which is nice. Ah, it got me in the back, damn. I wanna get practice with like one class. I wanna try and figure out what's good.
Tossing frag grenade!
I should not be alone. This is not a good...
One of ours goes to rot. The Terrier embraces all.
Ah, darn it! I thought I could get him because of my banner being down, but I guess it didn't. Alright, let's go this way. Let's go further to the right. We are not winning right now, which is a shame. Okay, cool. We're still cool.
Vision reveals the fuck.
There we go.
We lost one. Exhibiting happiness in my friend.
I cannot fucking see. Ow! Ryan Gosling, you son of a bitch! Okay, so it looks like the melee weapon will break through the health. So it looks like I need to try and get that done in like 4 hits if I can. Let's stick together, let's stick together. Ah! Hi there, Code! These randos? Yeah, there's randos.
Not yet ripe enough to contaminate all. Our toll grows higher.
Looks like someone just like...
Embrace decay! Closing in for the kill! Frag grenade deployed! Reloading!
Oh, god damn you.
One of ours is dead! Our foreman is halfway there!
Ah! Yeah, I'm doing a PvP. I am not too good at it. It is a bit difficult. And unfortunately, the way you unlock like more the way you unlock more stuff is that it's not based off kills, it's based off wins. Which can be a bit problematic when you're trying your darndest, but you don't have like a...
Embraces all! Refreshing weapon! Allied casualty!
Yeah, defeat. So... Thankfully, the mission, like it's not like a huge amount of time, thankfully. It's like 20, it looked like you only needed to get like, yeah, 50 kills. Earn 3 assists in a lifetime. Nice. Yay! The auto bolt rifle is now available for the tactical. The bulwark has gotten a little bit of things. Hi there, Nat Cow. Load-bearing walls are considered heretical in the Imperium? That sounds like bullshit, let me tell you what. That sounds like a meme if ever I've heard one. What is my ping? Okay, so the ping's not that high. I'm actually with an okay group. I was just absolutely terrible, it seems. Zero kills, 7 deaths, 7 assists. I was quite literally the worst one there. Oh boy. Some invite codes are not available when crossplay is disabled. Oh, what? What do you mean crossplay is disabled? Eternal War mode is already... What the... Battle barge map. Utilize the battle barge to fast travel between locations. Oh, nice. I can choose to be, like, in different areas. Nice. Alright, so... The Bulwark has the option between... Nothing. All heavy attacks can break defensive guards. The most powerful heavy attacks can deal unblockable damage. Nice. Let's see how we go with this match. Depending on the results of this match, we might end the stream after this, though. Because otherwise, you know. Also, hi, Jason. Hi, Jason Code. Welcome, welcome. Sorry I didn't say hi back sooner. So, yeah. Is also waging a civil war because there's a different grievance on what the actual date is. Oh, I did hear about that one. Hi there, Jack. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Get scanned, you say. Yep. Scanned. Look at you. You scanned me. But yeah. Where was I in my train of thought? But yeah. So I did hear about how when Rabute Gilliman woke up and he asked, "Oh, what's the date?" Apparently that has like caused problems and such because no one knows what the actual like day, year, and all that kind of such is. You escaped work and you're very tired right now. Understandable. I'm gonna go the Bulwark again. I'm gonna get some practice on this guy. So, Ice Age, welcome to the stream. It's interesting that they have like the different classes for the heretical side, but they kept us as Ultramarines on the loyalist side. All right, let's see how we go. It's more that Gilliman is trying to rectify the Imperial history for public use and establishing his own department for the task. And the time cops are pissed. Oh no, not the time cops.
Our warband holds the advantage. Injecting ammunition. Grenade out.
The flesh is weak. Fuck you in particular. At least I got the assist, but I can't. Ow, ow, ow. Get out of there. Get out of there. Oh, he got me. Alright, is there a way for me to change class? So, assault, tactical, sniper, let's go heavy. Fuck it, let's go heavy. We'll change after respawn. Noted. I'm not doing too great with the pistol. I need to be able to do, like, bursting damage. And, of course, the Assaultant. Maybe that's the difference? I need to go for, like, Assault and Vanguards?
Grenade deployed!
There we... Hey, I got an elimination! Nice! It's my first one.
Let us spread pestilence. Decay claims one of our own. Throwing shock grenades. Specs is ready. Know what we once needed. There.
There we go.
Reloading.
New rally point established.
Stand out broad. Seeing.
Nice, got the elimination for helping cool guy. Sylvester Kristoff.
What truths mean?
Oh, the sniper got me. Their job primarily is to keep an eye out on people falling out of the warp outside of linear time in case anyone causes any paradoxes. That can happen. Also, I did not double check what the ability of this guy is. Ah. Oh, I did get an elimination, though. That was nice.
Iron endure.
Lots of stuff can happen in the warp. I feel like there's a lot more experts in my chat than there were back at the beginning now.
Our warband is halfway there.
Oh, hey, we're winning.
Casualty reported.
Oop. Excuse the fuck you. Who decided to take a cheap shot at me?
Down the hard.
Oh, no, 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 no.
He was too frail for this.
New rally point established.
Alright, so he does shields is his thing. Noted, noted, noted. Hi there, Freckles. Welcome to the stream. I'm doing a little PvP before I finish off for the day.
New rally point established.
How's it going? Are you familiar with Warhammer 40k? With the Space Marines? No, I didn't get like...
Iron within, iron without.
Aww. Didn't do a good job there. And we're back on this random side.
The master demands my return.
Need to get up close. God damn it, Freckles. I don't know about this except for those furry animations. Oh yeah, the Flash Kit stuff. Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Terrorize our foes.
Allied casualty.
Oh, you mother... He really had to do that, didn't he? Roly-poly kind of dude.
Down the hard.
There we go.
The moment is now. Rearming.
Oh, we gotta win this time! I believe there was an orc war boss that encountered his past self, killed his past self, and took his weapon so he could have 2 of his favorite weapons. Thanks to the orcish power of make-believe, he was not erased from time. I did hear of that. Helpful, revenge, and savior. Nice. Mark X Gravis, mastercrafted, and some requisitions. Nice. Is there a way for me to, like, leave the group? Hey, I didn't do as badly this time. I got 1.2. Nice. That was better. Gonna have another drinks. Normally, this is what I'm like in COD. I'm like 1.5 or less. Cancel matchmaking. Yep. That was good. I did better that time. I don't know how I feel about the long load times though, because the thing is that I'm using an SSD, like I'm using an NVMe to like play this game. So I'm not 100% understanding of like the amount of load time there is there, but I'm glad that it does, like, it isn't like an obscenely high amount, and it's not like super short that I do not understand what they're trying to get done and what have you, because the game logic gets done like relatively quickly. It's all the resources. But yeah, we now have a new helmet. But yeah, there's like, we could be doing all kinds of like cool like thingamajiggies. Apparently Gilliman surmises from different major imperial dating systems that it's either early 41st century or early 42nd. There's at least a 1,000-year discrepancy. That's a huge discrepancy. Alright, so we've got the DLC. We can look like the fucking Ultramarine champion. So yeah, so we got standard, we got the helmet. This requires 6 victories. And then, alright, so we can do it, let's do, and then we have different Astarte chapters. So we've got the Dark Angels, Blood Ravens, and Blood Angels. And we can do like a fully, and then we got Salamanders over here. So we can do a, general rule will be applied to all armor plates at the same time. A custom rule will be applied to specific armor parts in addition to the general rule. Alright, so we can either, so we can't. Alright, so to show like other, so quartered, and then the heresies have like...
Hello!
Hi there, Blackwing! Stream is going first. The stream is going okay. Oh, I see. So, like, I can do these. So I've already unlocked the successor, so those are the Minotaurs. So if I go to the first founding of the Ultramarines, I can purchase the quartered patterns. I can buy a veteran icon, battle line, close, and fire support. So I can buy these things. And then those are first foundlings. Then these are Black Templars, where you can get an emblem. These are successors. And then these are the, once again, the Ultramarines. So I have... Okay, so to get the half, I would need to get the Omega Marines, which means going down this lane. But we have like all kinds of different emblems. I'm gonna go for the Dark Angel Legion. So that's my one. And we can either go for... We can go for Caliban Green. We can go for blues. And then there's like DLCs. I do like the look of the Cantor blue. That one's kind of cool. In order to get that, I'd have to get the successor from Void Trident. Ooh. Nice, I can go for gold or silver. And then... And then I can add a custom rule to a helmet. Nice. I unfortunately do not have anything I can apply. I can... Alright, so that's... So let's delete that custom rule. So we can either go for... Let's go for this pauldron. And we can go for a different emblem. We can go for a Dark Angels Veteran. A lieutenant icon. Alright, so it looks like I'm gonna need to do like way more of the multiplayer, but it looks like, nope, just more emblems it seems. Watch Company Cordress marking. I'll put it in my right knee. And then this one here has same sort of dealio. Solid pattern. Gonna go yellow, and then that's black. There isn't much there, but I can change this to being a, I can just start making Voltron if I wanted to, I betcha. There we go. And then those are the different armor sets, and then these are DLCs I would have to unlock. So yeah, why is there a custom armor set? Oh, because I can do... Okay, so I now have access to the Mark X. So... Interesting. And then I've done a custom... So I can do a, How come I can't do anything for the helmet? Like, hang on. Helmet... Solid, I can do solid patterns, colors, but that's it. I can't change the helmet? Is that it? No, there's gotta war gear. I can't change anything about the war gear. There's the breastplate, there's the greaves. And then there's the gauntlets. And then we can go to the heretical, where right now I just have the standard issue. And then we have different, so we have the Black Legion, we have the Iron Warriors, we have the Night Lords, the Alpha Legion, World Eaters, Death Guard. I'm gonna go with... Actually, no, I'm gonna go with the Night Lords. And then... Alright, so this is the Sniper. I'm just gonna swap him over to that one. I don't imagine I'm gonna use them too much. Let's go World Eaters. And then Bulwark. I sent you a good one on TikTok. Nice, thank you. The customization in this game is quite neat. It is. I feel like it's gonna take me a while in order to get to a, 37, 30, 22. It looks like it's gonna take me a bit of time to get through some of this, I will be real with you. Alright, I'm gonna go with Blood Ravens for the customization. And then the Astartes chapter. Let's go... That's the Death Guard, that's the Black Legion, that's the Iron... Let's go Iron Warriors for you. And then next group. This is the Vanguard. So yeah, I don't have the DLC for the Vanguard, annoyingly enough. I'm just gonna go standard issue. I'm gonna go with like the thingy-majiggy there. Alpha Legion once again. And then we've got the Assault class. And then, let's have a look. Let's go... Oh, I can't go Salamanders, darn. Alright, we're just gonna go Dark Angels here. And then for the Heretics... I'm gonna keep it as the Night Lords, because that just looks cool. Oh, hey, we got a new thingamajiggy for the Tactical. We can now go with the Auto. And then... Yep, that looks fine. So we can choose our Astartes, and we can choose the... Oh, maybe that's what I need to do with the... So swap over to Heavy. I need to change the... Need to change the armor set, and then I can change the... Then I can be able to do the change to the What's-a-Mahuzi. So it's the Mark X. And then that way I can, like, go with... Yeah, there we go! Let's go with a red. We'll go with a red, and it looks like there isn't anything else we can change. Can't change the eyes. DLC would require that. I wish we could... Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm fine with that one. That makes a little more sense. So we have the option of, like, with a helmet or without a helmet, and then that can do a customized thingy-madiggy. So from here, we can then change the helmet from here to here. There we go. And then Pauldron, so we don't have much difference with the Pauldrons. That will require purchasing 29 victories. And then the War Gear, we can't really do much with. Ooh, I do like the idea of the Iron Halo there. Breastplate doesn't really have much to it. Feels like a huge torso nonsense, though. And then Mark 10. Ding dong. Do like 18 okay, so I need 18 victories to get the prosthetic gauntlet thing. Okay, okay. And then that's a mastercrafted, which requires 4. And then that requires 12. There's a lot. Navigating the marine markers is odd, but you'll get used to it once. Yeah, I reckon I'll get used to it once I get used to it. So, and it looks like... So, Ultramarines, Unknown Factions, Heretic Factions. So it looks like... Purchase the Night Lords. And then there's unknown factions such as the... I went for the, you know, the Blood Ravens. Because I've heard memes about them. Eric, Storm Giants, Red Scorpions, and then apparently there's all kinds of Ultramarines. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna get the quartered pattern. So yeah, that was a bit costly, but it is what it is. The Iron Hounds use that. Trident. Armor? What's this armor? Ah, okay, so that's to get the Ultramarine thing. This would get the emblem. Emblem, 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 emblem. So that would need an armor to get Lieutenant. And then the Brazen would get you another iron part. Hawk Lords. Okay. There's the salamanders, where you can get their color. Probably gonna cost me an arm and a leg to get to that color. And you've got the iron hands. Alright. A lot of work it's gonna take. Yep, quite a bit of work. I do like the look of the helmet, though. I am gonna go with that helmet. There we go. Alrighty. You should wear armor like this, except no chest plate. Those pecs are well armored already. No, I would need the chest plate. Ah! Stretching! Alright. I am gonna have to call it here, I would have to say. I have work the next day. It's a Thursday work for me, and then... But I'll be back online Friday for more Space Marines. So Friday night, so... I'll have more Space Marines. I should really, like, I'll make another post about it, like, on the day and what have you, so... We'll be going through, like, a big... Like, apparently we'll be going through a mission that's gonna be, like, you know, 2 crazy thingamadiggies. Oh, okay, so that's how you do the thingamadiggies. Alright, nice. Also, why does it say 2? Alright, anyway. But yeah, that is going to be it from me tonight. I hope you all had a wonderful time. Thank you so much for joining it in when you could. I greatly appreciate it. Let's have a look and see who is online and who it is that we can go and raid. We could go for another, like, space... Because I reckon there's a number of people that are doing, Space Marines. And they're possibly, like, just starting and what have you. That might be a good one to go for. Let's see... No one that's, like... No one that's, like, capturing my... Oh, hang on. Where's Bark? Oh, it looks like Barcode is doing some... It's doing some sort of nonsense. They've been at it for 5 months. Lupo is doing Persona 3. Next is doing Fortnite. Oh my god. This scrolling will never end. I feel like I'm just doom scrolling right now. I can just, like, look at all these viewers and just, like, scroll... and scroll, and scroll. Ah, actually, you know what? You know who we're gonna raid into? We're gonna raid into Just the Passenger. They have raided into me so many times. I'm following them, but I never go into their streams, and I really should do that. So, you know what? We're gonna go raid into Just the Passenger. For the Emperor. I can't even spell Emperor. Hang on a second. That is going to be our raid message as we go and raid into Just the Passenger. They're going through a little bit of Satisfactory, actually. So, not the exact same as Space Marines 2, but, you know, slightly similar. But yeah, that is going to be it for me tonight. I will be back online Friday night. I will post in my Twitters and my Blue Sky. I need to remember to do the Blue Sky, like, early as well. I can't just keep going to Blue Sky only when it's actually started streaming. I need to give people, like, a thingamajig. What do you mean they're the exact same? I'm saying they're not the exact same. Anywhoosies, thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. I'm thankful for Norbert, if you're still here, for the follow. Hello, Dragon Delta, same as you. Phantom for the resub. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, night, wherever you are. And we'll go raid into Just the Passenger shortly. Bye for now.